today.
Please, don't let your future slip away.
So that's what I want to show you how to do this evening, is how to utilize the powers of money and how to utilize someone else's capital. See, I don't care how much money you have in this room. I could take you out in the real estate business and run you out of money in 30 days. I'm just telling you the truth. Because real estate is such big money that I don't care who you are, if you start buying right now and you don't stop for 30 days, you're going to run out of money. All you have to do is go out and look at one $30 million building. That's a good start to run you out of money, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? So what we have to do is figure out a way that we can use other people's money to build financial freedom for ourselves. And that's my job this evening, is to show you how to do that. But more importantly, what I'm trying to show you how to do is how to power your money. Let's say that every dollar you invested in your life, you made $10 instantly. How long would it take you to become wealthy? See, $2,500 would turn into $25,000. $25,000 would turn into $250,000. $250,000 would turn into $2.5 million, and $2.5 million would turn into $25 million. Party's over. That type of situation. So that's basically what we're going to be doing here, is talking about the power of money. Let me give you another example. One day, I was driving around. I had my lenders and brokers directory, and I contacted a PPP lender. I walked in, and there was a receptionist there, and I asked the receptionist, "Who's the manager?" And she said, "That lady back there." This lady was good looking. Classy lady. So what do classy ladies like? Classy gifts. So all I did was I went to the stationery store and I said, "I want the most expensive, nicest pin set that you have." The owner brought me this pin set, and it was gold, and it had a little emblem on one of the pins, and it says, "I think you're special." I thought, "Oh, that's perfect." So they wrapped it up, and I brought it in, and I said, "I understand you're the manager." And she said, "Yes, I am." I said, "I have a gift for you." She said, "A gift?" And I said, "Yeah." So she took it and she opened it up and she said, "Oh, those are gorgeous." I said, "You like those?" And she said, "Oh, yes." She says, "But why did you buy me a gift?" And I said, "Well, I just wanted to get to know you a little bit." And she says, "Well, who are you?" And I said, "Well, my name's Dante Pirano." I said, "I'm a real estate investor." And I said, "I work with people such as yourselves in buying their repossessed properties." I said, "Maybe someday if you ever repossess a property, you want to give me a call. I'd be more than happy to take a look at it. And then if I like what I see, I'll probably buy it." And she says, "I have one right now." I said, "What do you have?" She said, "I have a duplex." I said, "Oh, I'd like to take a look at it." And she said, "Sure." So she gave me the address of this duplex, and I went out and I took a look. I figured the duplex was worth about $100,000. So I offered one half because she was a PPP lender, and she accepted this offer. But let me show you the economics. In fact, I still own this duplex. If you buy a $100,000 duplex, and if you only pay $50,000 for it, how much do you make up front? $50,000. Okay, now watch this. This lady asked me for 30% down. 30% down of $50,000 is $15,000. She says, "I'll carry back a first mortgage for $35,000. Your payments are going to be $360 a month." While I was at the duplex, I knocked on the door. I said, "How much do you pay in rent?" They said, $400. Well, it's a duplex, so I asked, did your neighbor pay $400 too? And they said yes. So that's an income of $800. You subtract the payment, you have $440 left over. Now, what's 15 into 50? There's your power. And you say, "No, wait a second. That doesn't make any sense. You showed us where you bought the first property for 50 cents on the dollar and you had 10 power. Then you showed us where you bought the second property for 50 cents on the dollar. You only got 3 power. How did you lose your power?" Leverage. I was sitting at a table one time having lunch with this guy. He'd been a real estate investor for years and years. And he says, "Dante, how old are you?" And I said, "I'm 22. And he said, "Would you take a tip from an old man?" And I said, "Sure." And he says, he stood up and he says, "When the price goes down, leverage goes up. And when the price goes up, leverage goes down. And when the price goes down, leverage goes up. And when the price goes up, leverage goes down." He said, "Don't you ever forget it." And to this day, I've never forgot that. But see, in 16 years, I have perfect credit, and I've always had perfect credit, and I never filed bankruptcy, and I never intend to, just because that guy stood up in that restaurant and did that. See, when you leverage at 70% here, you lose your power. So what you have to do is get your power back, and I'll show you how you do it. You just pick the telephone up, and you go, doo-doo-doo, brr, Grandma? She said, yes. And you say, Grandma, can I borrow $15,000? And she says, can I get 12%? You say, you sure can. I'll pay you $150 out of the remainder, so I'll still have $290 left over even after I pay you the $150. She says, well, is my money safe? And say, it sure is. I have a first mortgage for $35. I'll give you a second mortgage for $15. I'll owe a total of $50. It's worth $100, so you'll have $50,000 in protective equity. She said, so I get my 12%, a second mortgage, I get $150 a month, and I got $50,000 protective equity. You say, that's right. She says, I can't see how I can lose. Say, you can't lose. She said, okay, where do I take the $15,000? So Grandma takes the $15,000, she puts it into the escrow. You close the escrow up, you end up owning this duplex. You got now $290 gross coming in per month, and you got a $50,000 equity position. Now I'm going to tell you a little scenario. Have you ever seen on late night TV how they're talking about people that are really making a lot of money in the real estate business, and they have some kid that's only 23 years old that walks up to the camera and says, oh yeah, I invest in real estate. And they said, oh yeah, have you made some money? Yeah, I made some money. How much money you made? Oh, about $8 million. Everybody goes, what? Wait a second, how did that guy make $8 million? Well, right there. That's how he did it, see? Look at it this way. If you invested $0 and you made $50,000, what would be the power on your money? Yeah, you can't even calculate it. That's how it's done. It's called no money down. Now, no money down, I'm going to be honest with you, got a bad rap. And I'm going to tell you why. There were so many people on television that were talking about no money down, no money down. You buy no money. Well, see, the people watching, all they heard was no money down. They never understood what it meant. See, they never bought the book or nothing. All they did was heard no money down, make millions, no money down. See, so what they did was they got off their couch, they went down to some person selling their property, and they walked up to him and said, I want to buy your property. And the person says, great, but I ain't going to give you no money. Get out of here. You know, they're not going to sell you your property. You see what I'm saying? Then they go down to some bank and they go, hey, I want to buy your property. And the bank says, okay. And they said, but I ain't give you no money. They go, get out of here. So then the person says, oh, that no money down stuff, it don't work. See? Because they never understood what was going on. Is this a no money down deal, yes or no? Yeah. But did you still put money down, yes or no? See, that's the secret to no money down. All no money down means is none of your own money down. That's what no money down means. Do these economics work, yes or no? Is Grandma happy? Yeah. You happy? The lender's happy? See, everybody's happy, see, with a no money down deal. If it's structured properly, that's your strategy. Okay. If you decide to go into the real estate business, I want to share something with you. It's a business, and you got to treat it like any other time you decide to go into business for yourself. If you decided that you wanted to be a carpet layer, you're going to have what's necessary to be a carpet layer, or else you can't be a carpet layer. For example, you'd probably have to buy some tack strips, some pads, some carpet, some knee pads, some stretching tools, a little truck, things like that. That's what it costs to go into business for yourself to be a carpet layer. So maybe $10,000. Hey, you're in business for yourself. You can write your own checks. If you said, hey, I want to be a sheetrock hanger, the same thing would apply. You'd have to go down and buy a little truck, and you'd have to get a mixer, and you'd have to get tape and texture and sheetrock and tools. You may end up spending $25,000 to go into business for yourself and be a sheetrock hanger. Real estate's the same thing. Real estate just happens to be one of the least expensive businesses that you can go into that has more profit potential than anything I've ever seen in my life. What's it cost to go in the real estate business? Around $1,000. If you try to go in the real estate business spending less than about $1,000, be careful, because there is a chance you might get sued, and I'm just going to talk to you as a friend. The reason that you might get sued if you try to go in the real estate business by spending less than $1,000 is because you might not be set up correctly with the legal paperwork necessary to do real estate. Now, write these things down because these are things that you just absolutely have to buy to be in the real estate business. These are your tools. The first thing you're going to have to buy is a calculator, or you have to buy an adding machine. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. Some people grew up with adding machines. Congratulations, stay with it if it works good for you. Some people are now buying the new real estate calculators that we have available for you. And I know a lot of you here in the room just bought your real estate calculators. So use those. But you got to have some way to figure out the mathematics of the real estate transaction. The next thing you're going to need is a stack of pads and blank pads, and then you're going to need some pens and some pencils. Next thing you're going to need is a stack of purchase contracts. You can't buy real estate without a purchase contract, so get yourself a stack of purchase contracts. Then you're going to need a telephone. You've got to have a telephone. You can't be in the real estate business without a telephone. Then you're going to need a stack of proposals. You'll get the proposals by working off of the safety index in your inside info book. Then you're going to need a stack of grandmas. And you can get the grandmas by calling into our office and asking for Christina in the customer service department. So we're going to cover all this. All right, you're now in the real estate business. But you got to treat real estate as a business. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Sometimes you'll see somebody get out of bed in the morning and the hair's all messed up and no makeup on, and she's in her nightgown, and she goes across the floor and sits down at the kitchen table where real estate stuff is, and she goes, okay, I'm going to do my real estate now. That'll never work. You can't treat it like that, or else it will treat you bad too, see? So this is what I want. You get up in the morning, get in the shower, do your hair, put the makeup on, put a nice dress on, walk into the kitchen, sit down at the table, because now you're going to do some real estate business. All right? Now, all I want you to do is stare at proposals, and I'll show you what a proposal looks like. This is what a proposal looks like. You got World Savings off of your safety index. They've indicated that they have a negative. Consequently, they're going to have property for sale. You go down to World Savings, you get a copy of these proposals. You have a big stack of them. And all I want you to do is work them just like this. World Savings says they'll sell you a fourplex for $68,500. Now, you don't know if this is a good deal or not because obviously you need more information. So what do you do to get more information? Call them up. World Savings, John Bagandi, please. Just a moment. John Bagandi here, Dante Perano. Hey, Dante, how's it going? Pretty good. Hey, John, I was looking at this proposal that you have on a fourplex for $68,500. He said, yes. Say, John, what's it rent for? He says, I got to get the file. Just a moment. So John goes and gets the file, and you pull out your blank pad, and you write on your blank pad, fourplex, $68,500. John comes back in a couple minutes, and he goes, hey, Dante. And I say, yeah. He says, it looks like we got 2 studios that are rented for $600. Looks like we have 2 one-bedrooms that are rented for $650. You say, so the total income's $1,250? And he said, yeah. Saying, you want $68,500? And he said, that's right. Well, see, you know already that you can borrow the money from your grandma at 12%. Well, 12% on $68,500, your payments would be $685 a month. So if you subtracted your payment, you'd still have about $500 left over for yourself. You also know that any fourplex that rents for $1,250 a month economically is worth $100,000. So if it's worth $100 and all you owe your grandma is $68,500, you made another $31,500 in equity. So if the property increases your cash flow and it increases your equity, what do you tell John? That's right, I'll take it. Then what you do is pull out one of those purchase contracts I told you about, write it up for $68,500, and just go right over to John's office and present it. You say, John, here's a cash offer for $68,500. I'll have your money for you in about 30 days. Now, you will notice here, John, that it's and/or signs after my name, and it's subject to my partner's approval. But if you sign it, I'll have your money in 30 days. John will sign it. You take it over and you open up a escrow. Then you go call Grandma. There you go. Hello, Grandma. She said, yes. And say, I have a deal for you. She said, what is it? You say it's a first mortgage on a fourplex for $68,500. I'll pay you $685 a month. It's worth about $100. We'll be in at $68,500. You'll have $31,500 in protective equity. You'll get 12% interest. Now listen, Grandma, the worst thing that could happen is you'd have to repossess it. If you had to repossess the property, you'd end up making $31,500 in equity, and instead of getting $685 a month, you'd get my $500 too. You get about $1,185 a month. She says, geez, I can't see where I can lose. And say, you can't. Then Grandma takes the money down to the escrow, and she puts in your $68,500 plus closing costs, and you close the deal up. You're now making $500 more per month, and your financial statement just jumped by $31,500. So that's how you buy using Grandma's money on a borrowed basis. Now let's say Grandma said to you, I'm not going to loan you the money. And you said, oh yeah? And she said, that's right. Say, so what do you want to do? And she says, well, I don't know. What are you proposing? Say, well, how about split the deal with me? And she said, split the deal? And you say, yeah. She said, what's that? Say, well, you see, Grandma, we got this fourplex, and I figure with closing costs and everything, we're gonna be in at about 70. It's worth about 100. So let's see, 70 from 100, that's 30,000 equity. Now, if I split the deal with you, I'll give you one half of the equity, which is 15,000. And let's see, it's rented for $1,250 a month, so I'll give you half of that. That's $625 a month. So instead of me just borrowing the money from you, why don't I just bring you in as my partner for a half interest, and you'll make $15,000 in built-in equity and $625 a month on a $70,000 investment. It kind of appears that you'll get over 10% cash on cash plus a $15,000 bonus if you just split the deal with me. And she says, oh, I don't want to do that. And you say, why not? And she says, well, because my husband's my only partner. And you say, oh. And say, well, I'll tell you what, you really like this deal, don't you? And she said, I sure do. Say, okay, I'll tell you what, you give me $10,000 cash, and I'll give you the whole deal yourself. She said, well, how would that work? Say, well, your purchase price would increase from $70,000 to $80,000. You'd still make $20,000 in built-in equity. We'll go over to the attorney, and we'll have the attorney prepare a demand for $10,000 to me that you sign. Then the attorney will prepare an assignment of my $70,000 contract to you. The attorney will collect $80,000, send $68,500 to World Savings, $1,500 to the title company to close it, $10,000 to me, and you now own the fourplex for $80,000. Would that make you happy? She says, I'll do that. So that's the three ways that I want you to work with your investors. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to offer to borrow the money from them. You'll make more money if you learn how to borrow the money from them than any other way, simply because you're only having to pay 12% interest or 14% interest, which is all negotiable. If they won't loan you the money, I want you to offer to split the deal. And in all the years I've been doing this, I found that these three things appeal to almost has money that's even the least bit concerned about investing in real estate. If they won't loan you the money, and if they won't split the deal, what I want you to do is sell the contract. Now, how do you sell a contract? At the top of your purchase contract, you're going to have a spot that's for your name, which you've learned how to fill out a purchase contract over the last couple days. But put your name, and then right after your name, just put and or assigns. And just by putting those three words after your name, it allows this contract to be sold, as I just showed you a few minutes ago.
I went in the list, I made some calls, I found a partner, they put down the whole down payment, and now I'm closing escrow on it right now, and we predict to gross about $30,000 off the deal.
I've acquired a property and sold a contract for $3,000 cash, and I'm looking to acquire more properties to my portfolio.